Cardinal Coaches Corner, and this is the one I've been looking forward to all season, folks. We have got a special treat for you. We're calling it the Cardinal Coaches Corner Special. We've got both Precious Ivy and Greg Heiar with you, the women's and men's basketball coach here at the college. The Lady Cardinals are 25-3, ranked number 7 nationally. The Cardinals are 24-4, ranked number 5 nationally. They both have got excellent chances to be the number 1 seeds of the upcoming regional tournament. In fact, the Lady Cardinals already know they will be, and the men have got an excellent chance to be. Wednesday, the Lady Cardinals will be at Paris for a 5:30 p.m. game, and the Cardinals travel to Brenham to take on Blinn at 7 p.m. Okay, let's get down to it. I want to begin by saying I just have noticed all season that you two seem to have a genuine mutual respect for each other. And that's not always been the case here at the college between the men's and women's basketball coaches. And that's not pointing fingers or saying anything negative. It's just complimenting the both of you. P, I want to start with you first.
Okay.
What has it meant to you to have a coach of Greg's caliber as a resource for you to lean on and learn from, and having him as someone who seems to be a genuine big fan of yours?
Absolutely. Coach Greg has just been an inspiration to me, honestly. Being able to sit in on his practices and listen to him coach and watch him tweak things and teach things have really just amped me up as a coach, honestly. I don't know if he's noticed, but we do a whole lot of stuff that he does in his practice. I think we were doing it before he got here, but just him showing me how to break it down more and make it more relatable for the kids has just been a joy. Off the floor, whether we're talking about basketball, just everyday life, he always brings a helping hand, a good word, an inspiration. He talks to our kids, which sometimes you just don't see that. I mean, he's encouraging them. He's encouraging my staff. He's just been a bright light on our campus.
What was it like last March to be on the front row, and you were on the front row because I saw you up there at Hutch and watching Greg and the Cardinals capture the school's first national championship?
It was a dream come true because, I mean, yes, I'm always cheering for my team, but just to see other teams in your school do that, it's just amazing. And for it to be his first year here and it be our first one as a men's program, it was just a blessing. I mean, I couldn't have been in a better place. Yeah, of course, I wanted to be at our national tournament, but if I couldn't be, then like you said, the first front row at their game was just exactly where I wanted to be.
Greg, you take the job here, and you know the success of the women's program and the history of the program. But talk about that first time you walked in Cardinal Gym and you saw all the banners and what your thought process was there.
I just knew it was a special place, and I knew there had been a lot of special people that have been through here, and I read all the names on the banners, and not just the banners. You can go back to 1974, the first All-American, little window cover we have in there, and then you just see all the men's and women's names of the All-Americans, and then you look over and you got all the cheer national championships, and then you got the 2 football national championships with all the names on there, and it's just a really, like you call it, the historic Cardinal Gym. It was real motivating for me from day one to come in, and when I arrived on campus, my first team meeting, I told our team that I felt like we were the least most respected program on campus. And I wanted to change that perception by the type of people because, I just felt that way. I don't know if it was true or not true. I just felt that way. And, when you go in that gym and you see all that history and you see how powerful the women's program has been for years and years. And when I came on a visit to meet Coach P, and, I didn't really know. I saw her coaching the national championship game. I was at that game because of Bart Walker being a friend of mine, and I was out at my old school, and I drove up to where Texas Tech is, Lubbock, and I watched that game, and I was really, really impressed with how feisty those girls were and how hard they played. And then, you look at, you hear about it, but when you see the banners, it's different. And I just love that they got the names of the coaches and the student athletes on your banners. And I always look at them and it's a winning environment.
I talked about P being on the front row up at Hutch last year watching you win a national championship. I've turned around many times on the media row this year during her games going on at Cardinal Gym and seeing you on the front row. How would you characterize the season she and her squad have had?
Oh, my wife and I talk about her team and women's basketball a lot. Obviously, my wife's sister being at Illinois, and we've been huge women's basketball fans for years. And I would say that I'm super proud of Coach P and her team. I just, from the who they were this summer to who they are today, is a testament to her coaching and how those young ladies have changed. Their conditioning, their toughness, their feistiness, their defense. They're unselfish. They share the ball. They play the right way. They run on and off the court. They're coachable. Just everything you want to see in a program. I love sitting right behind Coach P because she'll say some funny things too.
But she'll also say some things we have got to keep our mics off it.
Yeah, I think we both do that.
We're kind of the same.
Yeah. But I do. I truly like to sit back there and, I know the last game at home, her point guard MJ was struggling a little bit in the second quarter, and Coach was on to her. I wanted to go over there and just give the girl a hug and just be like, "Hey, self-correct. You're worried about things you can't control. Like you're too good of a player." And then she comes out in the second half again. Like
we had a little chat at halftime.
I bet you did.
We did.
She was so good again to start that third quarter. I was really proud of her for how she self-corrected.
Yeah, she definitely bounced back.
Expectations are higher at the Valley. There's no question about it, especially for the basketball programs, for all the programs, but the basketball programs. And while that can bring added pressure, as a coach, would you really want it any other way, Greg?
No, you want to be somewhere where they care. Absolutely. Number one, and I think care is a word that's used very loosely, and it's not used loosely around here. It starts at the top and it trickles through all of our coaches, and every team is top 15 in the country. Every head coach and staff cares. The players they all live together. They're all around each other, and success breeds success, and they all support each other. So it's amazing to be a part of a place that really does truly cares, not only from within, but the community as well.
Absolutely. And Pete, what would you add to that?
I would add the same thing, and I was going to actually start with community. I think the way our community surrounds our programs and love on them and just make sure that they can step in for whatever these kids need is just unknown in some areas. I've coached at other schools, and our Friends of the Cardinal program is unmatched, one of the top programs that I've ever been a part of. And we've taken our time this season especially and really loved on them back because I don't want them to feel unappreciated, you know. And I sit with his Friends of the Cardinal people during his game right behind his bench, and it's so much love and so much just true, genuine support from those people that I think it makes our athletes feel right at home, which is what you want them to be, because lots of our athletes are so far away from home and they don't get to go home because basketball season is the longest season on any campus. We start in really August and we're not done until April now.
Right.
And so I think that, like he said, the way our kids just kind of group together and they support each other. And I'm sure there's some complaining, but I think they always bounce back with, "Hey man, but we're winning. Hey, but this, but that." And so I think it's good to be surrounded by like-minded athletes when you're a part of something so good here.
How has the transfer portal and the NIL changed the type of athletes we get on the junior college level now, if you feel like that it has? P, I'll start with you on that.
It's definitely changed our recruiting. When I first got here, and you can remember this, and this is probably the team he's talking about. I had 7 Division I athletes on one team, and most of them were transfers. And now I do still get the transfer, but I'll get a transfer that's averaging 6 minutes. MJ. We'll talk about her. She was only averaging about 9 minutes as a freshman at the Division I that she was at. And she's a big, intricate part of what we do here.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you're still going to get a couple in, but I don't have that Power 5 kid. I don't have that athlete that can just step in here and be player of the year right off the bat without any efforts. And that's something that the Valley is used to, And so I think our fans and our administration has had to realize that we actually have to get our kids in and breed them, and we have to transition them into being elite athletes and elite students, because those are just not the athletes we're getting anymore. I recruited 2 twins last year, and they didn't want to hear it because they got an offer for a few dollars, but that few dollars means the world to these kids. And if they really knew what we know as coaches, as adults, they wouldn't be worried about a check. They would be more worried about who's going to pour into them and get them to be the best version of themselves.
Same to you, Greg.
Yeah, it's definitely changed the dynamic of college sports for every sport. I think it's had its effect. Really, they come here to get NIL money when they leave here. That's kind of my recruiting pitch to them is, our job is to make you better, kind of like what you said, groom them, make them better every single day, make them understand what it takes to be a Division I winner. I don't have a Division I transfer on my team. I don't even know if I had a Division I transfer on my team last year either. I don't think I did. Um, and kids ask, "Do we have NIL money?" And say no and move on to the next one because there's a lot of good players out there, um, and it's I just we don't have it, and so we can't worry about it.
Absolutely.
And uh, Division I transfers, they can transfer from program to program. When I was in 2002 to 2008, I had 5-star guys that, maybe something happened to them at a Power 5 school and they had to go junior college because they couldn't just transfer to another school. And whether they had to sit a little bit or whatever, they couldn't do that
Yep.
then. Now you can. So you're really just wasting your time if you're you're just chasing a pipe
Absolutely.
dream. And I would rather just recruit good, solid student athletes that come from great people and try to help make them better every single day.
Absolutely. Sometimes money can't buy
That's,
Yeah,
happiness
exactly.
yeah.
and
That's a
playing
great way.
time.
That's a great way to put
You
it, Coach.
can't.
There's a really good chance that both of you are going to have the number one seed going into the regional tournament. What type of pressure, or does that bring any extra pressure on a team as a tournament begins? Greg, start with you.
I don't. I think that what is it? Pressure is a privilege. It's really an opportunity.
Absolutely.
I think what we just talked about, being at a place where people care. Every game is important here. So tournament games they're no different than league games, than non-conference games. I feel the same way going into every game, and I actually get more relaxed the more it gets closer to the end. I think the hardest thing is to get there.
Absolutely.
That's the hardest thing. So yeah, there's this is a big week for us because if we could handle business this week, there is less pressure when you're going to the regional tournament. If we were to have, we had 2 mess ups, now we're going in there and there's a lot of pressure on you because you got to win the region tournament to get to Hutch. All your numbers, all your games, everything matters. And this is probably the 2 weeks of the season that to me are the last of the really hard, because once you get to the national tournament, it's like you're not practicing anymore to get better.
Right.
You're preparing to win a game, and you no matter wherever you're at that point, and whatever your strengths are at that point, you have to play to those strengths.
Absolutely.
And you have to limit your weaknesses, and you know what they are, and then so it's just like relaxing as a coach. I mean, I think you asked me one time about what it felt like on a national championship game, and I'm just like, it's every second takes an hour, but you're just you can't wait for the ball to get tipped up and to see what happens and let the players decide the game.
Yep.
P.
I'm with him. Pressure is a privilege, and when you work at the Valley, it's part of the makeup, right? You know what you're getting yourself into. You know the shoes that you have to fill. As long as you see your team continuously get better over the season, like he said, in July, the team I saw to the team I see now, I've seen the growth. I've seen the hard work pay off. I've seen the running take place, the conditioning be a good thing. So, like he said, now it's kind of management. you're managing your team. Like you said, you're playing to your strengths and you're limiting your weaknesses. And you're just trying to keep your team at this point together, because this is the time of year where you don't want anything small to mess up what you've worked so hard for, and it's not necessarily the opponent we're talking about. We really just focus on who we are, and we continue to build the toughness side of things, because it becomes a mental game now. Because we are, I think you said number 7 in the country, number 1 going into the tournament. So really, it's just like it's ours to not take, and so we just want to mentally keep preparing. And we start to watch a little more film on my side, because now, like you said, we have to make sure we take care of the things that we can control. And I think if we just keep preparing mentally, we can do that.
This raises a question here. Both of you talk about this, about tournament play and the season's progressing. At what point in a season do you both feel like your team has probably become who they are? I mean, because I'm sure early on, it's a transition. You're becoming the team you're going to be. But at what point do you get there, Greg? First with you.
I say the day we leave for the national tournament. I think you got all the way up to that point, and then that drive up there. I don't know. Every school is a little different, but here I think it's 8 hours. I just sit and I just think, and I study all our numbers, and I watch all our synergy, and I come up with this is who we really are. And we're not, there's no more practices where you're going into practice to prepare. We've seen, that's what's so great about our league. There's really good coaches, and you see all these different styles of play, all these different systems, and you're playing 22 games. And so now it's a 1-day prep, but we've seen everything. We've seen everything. So it's not like we got to walk through, or we got to create some new shell drill to prepare for what we're about to see. So it's, I think it's to the day we leave for Hutch. It's always been that way for me.
P?
I'm a little earlier than that. After the first round of conference, and I've seen everyone, and I've kind of compared us and matched us up with everybody. That's when I kind of do what he just said. I go get the stats, I compare, and I see where we're good at and what we are weak at, and that way. So when I see who we are, and I feel like there's some things I want to tweak before I get on the bus to go to whichever national tournament direction we're going to, we've already kind of tried to make some of the corrections so that when we're there, our weaknesses aren't so weak. They might not be as strong as our strengths, but we're not quite as bad, if you will, in those areas. So I'm a bit earlier than that. But I also think, although it's the same game, women and men, they play the game differently, and so I think that I have to make a few more tweaks prior to the second round of conference than what he has to.
And isn't the junior college tournament probably the hardest to win? Because, I mean, the NCAAs, they play 2 games, then they're off for a week before the next round begins. But the junior college, you're playing every dadgum day. You may get a day off in there, but there's not much time to scout a team and put a game plan in, is there?
No, well, and that's why we go to Florida and play 3 games in 3 days. Another thing that our region tournament really helps us, because we play 3 games in 3 days. It's good to have a versatile system. I think probably the most important thing is when you do things that the other team can't simulate, it makes you really hard to play against. And when you have a variation of things you can go to versus different defenses, it gives you ways to get easy baskets out there. And we always said, the great Greg Marshall was a great coach, and he would always say when we go to the NCAA tournament, we got to get 8 to 12 points, steal 8 to 12 points off our sets to get layups and dunks, and maybe a backdoor play or whatever, because those are backbreakers in tournament play. There really are, and you got to get some easy baskets in tournament play, because you're gonna, the other team's gonna be well prepared. They're gonna get back on defense, and it's the best of the best. And to beat the best of the best, you gotta have a versatile type system and style of play. And I think that's something that has been a benefit to my teams when we've gone to Hutch, and that's me being blessed to have worked for 3 national coaches of the year and to be around them and to talk to them and to learn. You know, I'm constantly trying to learn. I'm always studying the game. I want to be better. I care so much about just the knowledge of the game, and maybe you learn something that you can give to your players to maybe it's some little thing that makes it easier for them. But learning is something that is a part of my everyday life.
Absolutely. It's a revolving door.
And the thing about it, Pete, like you can recall this, what it was 21 season. We made the national finals. I think we had 7 players available.
We had 8. And with Taylor being out
Yeah.
because she had a concussion.
Right. It's just physically draining, is it not?
Absolutely. But like you said, we do things throughout the year to prepare our team for that. I think every weekend in November we played 3 games, and so that's just kind of the grind that we're going to need towards the end of the season. And so they don't understand it early, but we as coaches know why we set our schedules the way we do, because we definitely know that at the end of the season that in both tournaments is definitely a grind each and every day. And I just feel like on the women's side, there's been votes to get a break before the championship game and all of this. But when it really comes down to it, at that time of year, either you want it or you don't, whether they give you a break or not. If you want to go out there and give it your all, then you're going to.
Pete, we'll start with you on this one.
Yeah.
And this will be my final question anyway. You've got a student athlete, basketball aside, why should he or she make Trinity Valley their choice?
I think between the two of us, we've talked about just the support and the privilege it is to have the pressure to be in one of the places that the world calls the top place, and with the friends of the Cardinals that we have and the coaches that they're going to be around and the knowledge that they're going to gain and just the support from each coaching staff. Because it's nothing for him to talk to my kids. It's nothing for Coach Wynn to be talking to our kids. It's nothing for Coach Poe to come and pour into them. I just think as parents, you want your kids to be surrounded by people that genuinely love them and that are going to pour into them and help them to be not just an athlete, but just to be a good citizen. And I feel like we definitely do those things around here. And they're also going to develop. And as he said, they're coming here to get those NIL deals. And I don't know of a coach that wants to recruit a kid that doesn't know how to win. And you definitely learn how to win when you're at TVCC. And so that to me gives you a step on the next kid on getting that extra few bucks in that NIL deal, because they know that they're getting a proven winner. They know they're getting a kid that has worked hard day in and day out. They know they're getting a kid that can go talk in front of boosters, that can wear their name on the back proudly and your name even more proud on the front, whatever school that is. And so I feel like as an outsider looking in, because I've not always been a Cardinal, this place is just leaps and bounds over people because of how athletes can come here and just become young adults that can survive, whether they're playing whatever sport that is or whether they're at a Fortune 500 company. I think that we do a really good job here of preparing kids for the next level.
Greg?
I'll just add the safety of Athens and Henderson County. I think it's a very safe place to drop your son or daughter off to school, which is important for the parents and for the student athletes. And then the academic, it's set up for success here. They're taking real classes, and we got amazing academic support here. And people that put them in the right classes so they do graduate and they're not taking extra classes, things like that. And then just everything Coach P said, I think when I think of Trinity Valley, I think of, okay, you want to go somewhere where you're going to have a chance to win a championship? Check. Trinity Valley. It's across the board. Every sport, they're respected nationally. They're respected here on campus. The coaches are respected. The student athletes are respected. And like P said, it's about winning. Here, you come here to win, and you come here to get better. But you got to get better to win. And everybody thinks winning is easy. Winning is not easy. It's hard to win. Okay. And, there's times where your teams don't play their best basketball. And, as the head coach, not happy with how your team plays, but you also understand they are 18 to 21-year-olds, and they do have a life outside of basketball as well. And so you got to think of a way to motivate them or get through to them and to get them back, get the train back on the tracks when you're at a place where winning is that important.
Absolutely.
Well, P and Greg, thanks for doing this today. I've been looking forward to this. And when the idea first came to us, I said, yes, we've got to do this. And why we've never done it, I don't know. I know you've got some big things coming up here in the next couple of weeks, and we wish you the best. And folks, I think you can see today why we're blessed at Trinity Valley to have Greg and P both here. And I consider them both friends, and I appreciate what they've done for our college and for our student athletes and for our community. And I'll say this before we go: we do a post-game show with Greg and P after each Cardinal Sports Network webcast, and I always try to get them in and out real quick because I see the people just lined up wanting to visit with them after the game themselves, and they've got a big fan club here. So
that's this guy. Big fans, big things. It's been a blessing.
But we do appreciate both of you. Both of you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you, Benny, and
Absolutely.
Coach P. Like we've worked so well together since the day I got here. She made the transition for myself and my family, and she's been amazing. And if she needs a gym, go ahead, have the gym. We'll work together.
Absolutely.
And vice versa. And Coach Patty's the same way. And Chris with the cheer. I mean, we have 4 sports in that gym daily that all need practice time, are all championship level teams. And we all work so well together. And I think that's what sums up the bonding.
Absolutely.
Of, do we all want a little more gym time? Yes,
Of
we all
course.
do. But are we all willing to work with each other to make sure
course.
everybody's successful? Yes, because we are a team. And I appreciate that because it makes it a lot more fun to come to work. And,
It does.
and
just getting to watch each team in the gym, I know you look out on your side through the glass doors, and I do too. You see why everybody's a championship level team,
you do.
because everybody's in there working their butts off, whether it's us coaching and teaching, or it's cheer doing their dance routine and their flips, and or patting them. I mean, I've seen Coach Patty them do some stuff, and I'm like, they do that in volleyball, you know?
The mad scientist.
Right, and I'm just like, man,
throwing the tennis ball up, and
right.
you got to catch it with the cone. I'm like, that's the best
That's
drill.
crazy, you know?
That's smart.
And we
That's
may not
smart.
understand it, but it's hard work, and that's what matters, you know. And like he said, I think that's what creates the championship caliber teams, and that's why all of us want to be in the gym day in and day out, because we don't want to be the team that's not
Yeah.
a championship caliber team. You know, you don't want to be that team. So
And that's what makes TVCC the home of champions. Thanks for joining us on the Cardinal Coaches Corner. We'll be back next week. Go Cards.
Go
go
Cards.
Cards.